So last night, I did finish Walden by Thoreau. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into reviewing this right now because I am going to do an extensive review on this book and go over some of the chapters I like and just do a complete overall review, right? Talk about some things I learned, things I took, things that I liked, and give it a review. But I will say that the conclusion, the last 20 pages, are some of the best bits of literature that I have ever read. It was extremely gripping, it was extremely profound, and those 20 pages went by like freaking water. But today, I jumped immediately into a new book, which is stark contrast with this book, Walden. I kind of wanted to read something that I was really interested in, and I'm really interested in the Vietnam War, and anything that I could read about it, I usually enjoy. So I decided to read Kill Anything That Moves, kind of a intense title. And let me tell you, I'm a little over 50 pages in, and it's an intense book. It is, it's definitely a read that the whole time you're like, whoa. It gets your blood pumping a little bit, and it just is I don't know if everybody should read it. I think you should read it to understand how cruel the world can be, and it goes over just how America, committed a lot of war crimes, a lot of atrocities against civilians in Vietnam, and a lot of it's been brushed under the rug, or deflated. The numbers have been, wildly reduced to what it actually was. And the author here, Nick Terse, I'm going to assume that's how you say his last name, he went in and he decided to dig deeper into a lot of these massacres that that the public's not even knowledgeable on, that they've kept the secret. And he's even went to Vietnam multiple times and interviewed people, and he's learned of massacres that were never even reported on. And he's talking a lot about certain verbiage, how that plays a dangerous role in the psychology of young men, calling them certain slurs, dehumanizing them. And he talks about the dangers of the kill count. And if you know anything about Vietnam, it very quickly became important, the kill count, right? And that's how it was called like the crossover point, where we believed at some point our goal in going into Vietnam, right, and our frame of thought towards how we were going to win, there was going to be a crossover point in all wars, right? Where we start inflicting so much damage on the enemy troops that they can't replace them. They cannot keep up. My sister's calling. Hold on, Ran. That they cannot keep up with the damage being done, right? So at some point, they're just going to have to call it quits, and they're going to have to surrender. But this obviously doesn't work when you have a enemy force that their reasoning and their will to fight is beyond anything that we can comprehend, right? So Ho Chi Minh, his reasoning behind fighting was he wanted to liberate Vietnam from the French and all that, and he wanted to instill communism. Really, it was revolution is what he was behind. He was fighting to free Vietnam, and he was fighting for revolution from the French originally. And which he actually worked with the U.S. The U.S. helped him, and it's for another video. Let's just say that. And we see a lot of this with the modern wars and the war on terror in the Middle East. You're fighting a force that does not care to die. And you're sending American boys that they don't even really want to be there. A lot of them didn't want to be there. A lot of them got drafted, and they don't even know where Vietnam is. And how do you expect them to beat these men that have a motive that's bigger than them? But he dives into how we saw success as body count. How many did we kill? And how quickly that became dangerous, because we were actually rewarding these men, you know, like squads or platoons that have the most kill count. They get rest and recovery, or they call it in this book rest and recreation, but I've heard it as rest and recovery. So there was actually like a motive to get high kill counts. And how quickly can that go from killing the enemy to just, you know, you're slipping in civilians that are getting killed and going, oh, I thought they had a weapon, or you can't distinguish, and finding ways to justify the killing of these civilians, and adding them to the kill count to, you know, booster up your kill count and inflate it, and then deflate civilian deaths, right? Or just completely lie. They were saying, like, I mean, there was even people that were saying that any Vietnamese that are dead are VC, which is like super fucking dark. This is a dark book for sure. It's definitely not a book that like you feel good reading, but it's something that is important to know, and it makes you aware of the world around you. And it's a reality that needs to be faced and addressed. But what a stark contrast between these two, going from like a feel-good Walden philosophy, Thoreau, poetry, how beautiful the world is, to this. But yeah. All right, that's gonna be it for the video. Just wanted to let you guys know that this book is done. Walden is done, and there should be a review on it in the next couple weeks here. And then I did start this, and there should be a review. I expect to finish this like in a week or so. I'm already 50 pages in. It's like 300 pages, I think, or something like that. So it's not gonna, it's not even 300. It's like 260, I think. So it shouldn't take me long at all. You guys know the drill. I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.